Good afternoon. If you'll go ahead and take your seats, we are going to get started with today's graduation. And someone already brought me Kleenexes, which is good because I've already cried twice today, so. I'm Jenna Morey, and I'm the Executive Director of Remerge of Oklahoma County. Today, we are gathered to honor 6 incredible women who have courageously embraced second chances and worked to transform their lives, to restore their families. It is my honor to welcome each of you to our 22nd graduation ceremony. For the last 11 years, Remerge has provided treatment, recovery, and hope in our community. Today, we have several Remerge graduates joining us and all of our current participants who have, with courage and determination, chosen to change their lives. If you are a past or present Remerge participant, would you stand so that we can honor your hard work? I would also like to honor our incredible staff who view the work they do at Remerge not merely as a job, but as a calling. You provide a place of warmth, dignity, hope, opportunity, and collectively, you create a program that sets a national standard for diversion services. Will the members of our team, past and present, please stand so that we can thank you? Thank you also to our committed board of directors who help Remerge to thrive. We are so grateful that you share your time and talents with Remerge to help us best serve our participants. Thank you to our court team, probation officer Dusty Tate, Judge Ken Stoner, Assistant District Attorney Kelly Basie, and Public Defender Madison Malone, who link arms with us every day to make our diversion program possible. To our amazing funders, partners, supporters, and volunteers, and our friends, we thank you. You are the fuel that keeps Remerge working to help our participants transform their lives and step into the bright futures they so deserve. When I first started at Remerge, one of today's graduates came into my office and she plopped down in a chair and she told me that I shouldn't bother taking the time to learn her name because she was someone who was a runner and she probably wouldn't last long at Remerge. Fast forward to a year later, and she sat in that same chair and gave me a mini lecture on how I needed to utilize the self-care skills that she was learning. And today, she sits here ready to graduate. Graduates, I am so very proud of you. We are so honored to be a part of your journey and to be a part of your lives, and that we've gotten to walk alongside you as you've done the hard work to transform your own life. We will always be your biggest cheerleaders. Each graduation, our graduates choose a word that represents their graduating class. This graduating class selected the word aphatos, which is a Greek word meaning too great or too extreme to be expressed or described in words. Brene Brown says that owning our stories and loving ourselves through the process is the bravest thing that we can ever do. You have owned your story. You have gained new skills and new eyes with which to see your own beauty and worth. You have loved yourself and each other through the process, and you have been brave. Because of your bravery, the possibility for your lives, the bonds created with supportive family and friends, and what you have to offer the world are too great to be described in words. So is the love that we have for you. As you graduate today, I want you to remember that Remerge will always be a place you can call home, that you have the power, capabilities, and determination to continue creating the life that you want. I know some days at Remerge were full of uncertainty and setbacks, but you continued to fight for the futures that you and your children deserve. You, like all of us, will continue to face battles, but you have proven over and over and over again that you can face hard things and prevail. Graduates, you inspire hope in all of us. We are so very proud of you. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker for today. Millicent Newton Embry is the Chief of Strategic Engagement for the Oklahoma Department of Corrections. She began her law enforcement career as a police officer with the Muskogee Police Department. She later joined the Oklahoma Department of Corrections as a probation and parole officer in Oklahoma and Canadian counties. She was promoted through the ranks and served as District Supervisor of Probation and Parole and Community Corrections. In 2004, Millicent was appointed Warden of Mabel Bassett Correctional Center. In 2012, she accepted the position of Agency Prison Rape Elimination Act Coordinator in the Internal Affairs Unit. In 2016, she was promoted to Regional Director for Region 1 institution with oversight of 10 prisons, including the Oklahoma State Penitentiary. She has previously served as the Director of Health and Offender Services, overseeing programs, education, classification and population, central transportation, sentence administration, sex offender registration, and the agency's COVID-19 medical response. So she's done a thing or two. Currently, Millicent serves as the Chief of Strategic Engagement, responsible for outward-facing engagement between the agency, the public, and the community, with oversight of community outreach programs and services, training, professional development, and recruitment and retention units. Millicent is a member of the American Correctional Association, the Oklahoma Correctional Association, the National Association of Blacks in Criminal Justice, Southern States Correctional Association, and more. She earned her Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice and completed graduate studies from Northeastern State University. She's a graduate of Leadership Class 33. She and her husband are the proud parents of 2 children, and she enjoys mentoring youth and collaborating with others to improve the lives of those in her community and our state. Please join me in welcoming my friend, Millicent Newton Embry.
Oh, you guys look so beautiful. And it's so wonderful seeing all the babies and the children, because it reminds us that the future is bright. Good afternoon. Beautiful day. Thank you, Jenna, for the warm introduction and for the Remerge team inviting me here to share in such a momentous occasion. And to Cabinet Secretary of Public Safety, where is she? There she is, Ms. Secretary Everett. Her passion for the people of Oklahoma and Oklahoma in general is just infectious. Thank you, Secretary. We all gathered here today to celebrate the outstanding achievements of you, Norma, Shanique, Dawn, Keziah, Sarah, and Lacey, for making the courageous decision to change the direction of your lives. For the past 2 years, and I understand it was during COVID also, for the past 2 years, you've committed yourself to the Remerge program and everything that was required of you, and we know it wasn't easy. But your commitment to the program remained steadfast. Even when you learned of the additional requirements for the program completion, and when some may have said, I quit, you didn't. And for that, you're making history today as the first Remerge cohort to complete the newly required career pathways, along with all the other programs, including completing your GED. Congratulations. I know the skills and knowledge you have gained through the Remerge program will be valuable to you in your career readiness and assisting you in building opportunities that will enrich your life and the lives of your families and your children forever. All of you courageous women are living testaments to your community, and I know, just like many Remerge graduates before you that have stood today, you too will demonstrate restorative justice by paying it forward through efforts in your community to make them stronger. I believe in the Remerge program as it seeks to address public safety by employing interventions that have brought about the transformation and changes that we all can see in you now. You accept accountability to address the factors which brought you initially before the court. Remerge also provided a unique chance for you to restore yourselves as mothers while remaining in your communities and in your homes. I've spent my career in criminal justice, in that field, committed to public safety. And as a former warden, I can tell you I've seen the outcomes of those who did not accept responsibility and take the opportunity to address their underlying needs while incarcerated. In contrast, Remerge program participants accept responsibility and agree to fulfilling their commitment to address their identified risks and needs. You know, as a young police officer, I can remember so often when I first went on the streets, I would hear a call to a particular house, and I would hear that call on a regular basis, and then I would hear on the radio somebody saying, 1015, one male, county jail. And I'd hear that all the time. And then it came a time when I was working in that area with my field training officer, and we got that call to that same house. And when I got there, I can still recall vividly the individual, the man that was drunk, very violent. The home was in disarray. The wife was screaming, crying. The kids were crying. And we would take the guy to jail. And I remember this would happen weekend after weekend after weekend. And I remember saying to my FTO, isn't there a program or something we can do for this gentleman? But the response was, Newton, our job is to take the bad guys off the street. Our job is to protect. Somebody else's job is to do that. And I'm so glad that those things have changed. Back then, we didn't have the prevention measures that we know now in our communities and with our families. We didn't know about ACEs. We didn't know about trauma. We didn't know about the things that we do today. But it always stayed with me, and I always wondered, what could we have done to impact maybe less victimization in that family and other families? Later on, as a team supervisor in probation and parole in Oklahoma County, my team had the opportunity to work with the former Judge Charles Hill, who I believe started the first iteration of drug courts in Oklahoma County. Like me, Judge Hill had been a police officer, and he too wanted to make a difference by impacting devastating effects of addiction in our communities. Today, we have evidence-based data that drug courts are effective. We have voices and practitioners like Judge Stoner and District Attorney Prater in his office working together with Remerge to provide a continuum of accountability and care that ultimately contributes to personal growth and self-sufficiency. Many of you today continue to support the Remerge program by dedicating your time, your talent, and your resources. Your contributions continue to provide divergent alternatives to incarceration that ultimately strengthen units and strengthen families in Oklahoma. So many of the women in Remerge have shared with me when I was there not too long ago what it means just to come there every day and be greeted by their name. They shared how this practice makes them feel noticed and welcomed and respected, and gave them dignity. Simply by acknowledging their humanity. When I visited Remerge, I too felt the same way. It was a friendly place. It was full of joy, and the staff were just friendly and engaging, and they were just a joy to be around. And so no wonder you ladies feel supported and valued there. Or could it be the Thursday morning claps with the Beyonce going in the background? You must not know about me. Could it be? Got it? To the Remerge team and participants, thank you for your dedication to making a difference in the lives of these 6 graduates and their children. Thank you for helping women of all backgrounds and experience feel welcome, safe, and know that they have the ability to successfully complete a program like this. Graduates, I want you to know that the Remerge team will always be there to support you throughout your journey into the future. There are so many people who believe in you. I want you to stand up. Turn around. I want you to look at this room, scan this room, and look at all the faces of the people in this room. I want you to make a mental picture in your mind of all these people who are there cheering for you. And just know when there's hard times, and there will be hard times because we all have hard times, just remember this picture and know that these people are cheering you on to victory. You can be seated. One of those people is Officer Dusty Tate. Dusty, where are you? Yep. Officer Tate, Officer, I just want to say, Officer Tate, they only do it because they love you, Dusty. Officer Tate has been assigned as the State Probation and Parole Officer on the wraparound team at Remerge for over 10 years. Officer Tate is a shining example of the effectiveness of the balanced supervision approach of a probation and parole officer. Officer Tate told me how much she enjoys working with you ladies and all the ladies of Remerge to help you all interrupt the generational cycles of addiction, trauma, incarceration, poverty, and other factors, and to effectively impact the lives of women and their children. Dusty, you pour hope. You making me cry. You pour hope, grace, hope, love, and everything you have into these women. And because of that, the Oklahoma Department of Corrections is proud to have you as a part of us, and we thank you for your 10 years of service to the Remerge, the women, and the state of Oklahoma. Thank you. Got that on my caseload. No, I was kidding. Several weeks ago, I was out and I was cutting the rose bushes in front of my house, and I noticed that I had lots of rose branches, but the roses were very small. And then I thought, you know what I need to do? I need to cut back these roses and prune the branches so that they will blossom better. And when I cut back all the extra branches, the roses that I had left became larger. They blossomed. And so it reminded me, sometimes you have to cut back some of the bad stuff that you don't need so that the good stuff can grow. Ladies, I see you all as 6 roses. And you have to keep blossoming. And that might mean you have to prune away in your life anything that is not good for you and is keeping you from growing. It might mean old relationships. It might mean family. But you deserve only positive support that empowers you and finds you with purpose and direction to help you improve your life. Nothing else is good enough for you. When I look at you today, I see strength. I see resilience. I see dedication. I see loving mothers, sisters. I see friends. I see neighbors, entrepreneurs. I see advocates and community leaders. I see counselors and managers and IT experts. I see college graduates, job supervisors, and mentors. I see hope. I see women of promise. Ladies, always remember, you matter. And you matter to everyone around you. You matter to the people who are cheering you on, both close and afar. The Remerge team will be your lifeline forever. You see, they won't ever drop their end of the rope. Most of all, remember the beautiful and amazing children and family who love you. To them, you are the world. You are the role model, and they deserve your long-lasting commitment to recovery and change. And don't forget, there are other women of Remerge right now watching your journey and finding their motivation and hope in what they see you accomplish. They find strength in seeing you and your children flourish and the positive impact the Remerge program has made in your lives. Now that you are distinguished Remerge graduates, your life is not just about you anymore. It's about all the other women and the children coming behind you, whom you may never meet, but will be inspired by your life and your journey. I applaud each of you today for your commitment to the lifelong work that will change the trajectory of your lives. I may not know your story, but I do know you are destined for greatness, and the rest of your story will be the best of your story. Always live your life without limits, because there are no limits to what you can achieve. Know you are a success, and know that your success inspires us all as we wish you the best that life has waiting for you. Congratulations to each of you for reaching your goals. You have made us all so very, very proud. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Millicent. Dusty Tate just thought she was finished, but she's not. We have a special award to present to her today. As you all know, we're so grateful for the Department of Corrections for providing an on-site probation officer to oversee our Remerge participants. We are so grateful that this position is available, but even more so that the person who sits in that seat is the one who's there. Dusty Tate has served for Remerge for 10 years, and she did not know that this was happening today, so surprise! For 10 years, she's provided accountability, comfort, understanding, and guidance to Remerge moms. She is our friend and our teammate and integral to the work we do. We are so proud to work alongside her. Now I'm gonna cry maybe too. And so in celebration of 10 years of your service, we have a little something for you. Officer Dusty Tate is our probation officer for the Remerge program, and she has been here for 10 years, and she has probably, at this stage, been at Remerge the longest of anybody on our team. We couldn't do what we do without her.
Officer Tate is amazing. She is such a great support, but yet she holds you accountable. She'll tell you like it is, but she'll also give you encouragement at the same time.
Officer Tate, she's helped me walk through the pits of fire, and she is so supportive. She is so understanding of everything that you're going through.
She is a part of our family at Remerge. She knows our mother's stories. She knows our staff's stories. She is a wonderful teammate, and we just love her.
Officer Tate is a phenomenal woman, asking us how we're doing, or she responds quickly when you're having a rough day.
I like to say that I love Officer Tate. She is amazing. She's always there to listen, and she's not gonna give you just some shrug of the shoulder. She's gonna tell you how it is, and I always listen to her advice because I know it comes from the heart, but at the same time, you know that it's the best for you. She's all around amazing.
One thing here at Remerge is we want to be home to our participants after they graduate, and Officer Tate is like that loving but firm mother here at home sometimes.
Miss Tate, it's like that was life-changing for me because I always had probation officers that I feared because I knew I would go back to prison, but having Miss Tate in my life, she's very understanding and loving and caring, and it was just a totally new experience for me.
Okay, Officer Tate, that there, right there, that woman is a lifesaver. She's a strong, she's caring, she's straight, and she's loving. That one right there changed my life for the better. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have thought twice on my mistakes.
We have graduates who stop by just to see Officer Tate because she's made such an impact on their lives. What an amazing thing that is to have 171 graduates whose lives have been touched and made better because of her. And we hope that she continues to be with Remerge for many, many more years beyond her first 10. We love you, and we want to present you with this to keep in your office for those many, many more years, which reads, presented to Officer Dusty Tate in appreciation of 10 years of service to Remerge. Your dedication and leadership set the standard for others to follow. Thank you. All right, and now I would like to introduce our MC for today's graduation. Jared Schaus is the president of Schaus Consulting, an Oklahoma City government relations firm founded in 2005. Jared previously served on the staff of Governor Frank Keating and was later the University Press Secretary at the University of Oklahoma. Jared has been an active volunteer with several civic and nonprofit organizations. He serves on the advocacy committee for Remerge and just recently finished the term as the president of the Rotary Club of Oklahoma City. Please join me in welcoming Jared Schaus.
Thank you so much, Jenna. I am already overwhelmed with emotion, so I apologize if I get misty up here as well. And I am really so honored to be here today to help celebrate these 6 women who are graduating today. What I love about working with Remerge is that it's an organization that helps change the trajectory of families in Oklahoma. It's amazing to see what can happen to a mother when she's given the support and the opportunity to restore her life. Since 2011, Remerge has helped restore women and families in our community. Including the graduates we are celebrating today, 172 women have graduated from Remerge. 172 women impacting the lives of 432 minor children. Remerge graduates were facing over 918 years in prison, but instead were given the opportunity to receive treatment, recovery, and hope. Remerge has saved the state of Oklahoma over $42 million by keeping mothers in the community and with their children. And I am really proud to live in a community that believes in the opportunity to pursue a second chance. As you know, the Remerge program doesn't stop after graduation. There's a strong recovery community known as Remerge Continuing Care, or RCC, or even better known as the Strong Squad. We have many graduates in the room joining us today, and that is what is so great about the Remerge community. Graduates continue to show up for each other and for those currently going through the program. New this year, Remerge would like to recognize and honor an outstanding graduate for their continued service and engagement with the Remerge community. And to honor our outstanding graduate, I would like to introduce Remerge's Assistant Program Director, Tara Shaw.
Thank you, Jared. It is a privilege to serve as the Assistant Program Director for Remerge for 3 reasons. 1, I feel that it is a safe place for mothers to come to heal, grow, and strive to be the best version of themselves. 2, our phase objectives consist of ways that Remerge mothers can find joy in their lives. Joy is built into the program, and examples are provided of what joy looks like, and we practice it. And most importantly, Remerge provides an opportunity for graduates to return to the program whenever support is needed. Again, providing a safe place. It's amazing to watch graduates come back and support each other and support current participants. As we discussed recognizing an outstanding graduate, looking at all the incredible graduates, we consistently work hard in each other. As we discuss recognizing an outstanding graduate, looking at all the incredible graduates who consistently work hard in each of their remarkable recovery journeys, we wrestled with the decision of who to choose for this inaugural award. Today, we are excited to present our organization's first Outstanding Graduate Award to Jamie Hood. Remerge participants do an extraordinary amount of work while they're in the program. And over the last 8 years, Jamie has never seemed to hit the brakes. She has strived to make a difference by continuing to engage in recovery communities and sponsoring others inside and outside of Remerge. She seeks to give back to Remerge constantly by teaching classes, giving her testimony, and has even chosen to celebrate her birthday at Remerge. Anytime Remerge staff has reached out to ask for feedback about new programming, Jamie has engaged. It's hard to think of a Remerge event that she has not attended. Jamie's success is not limited to her recovery or the recovery community she engages in. She has successfully She has a successful career in the Oklahoma County Juvenile Division of the District Attorney's Office. We reached out to Jamie's supervisor, Assistant District Attorney Jocelyn Riviera, and this is what she said about Jamie. She said, Jamie is an amazing woman that has overcome significant hardship and challenges in her life to come out on the other side stronger, more confident, and more hopeful for the future. She continues to apply the teaching she learned in Remerge in her daily life, and she strives to help all those around her. She has demonstrated a steadfast commitment to her sobriety and recovery, and helping those that continue to struggle. She works hard to support other women in need so they know they are not alone and they can accomplish what they put their minds to. Jamie's wonderful abilities shine through in her employment. She is the team member everyone wants on their team. She is reliable and hardworking, and there is nothing she wouldn't do to help those around her succeed. She is an integral part of our office, and we could not do it every day without her. We are proud of all of her accomplishments. I couldn't agree more with Jocelyn, and I could be pronouncing her name wrong, but I think it's Jacqueline. Forgive me. Jamie plays an active role in our community. Could Jamie join me on the stage, please? Jamie, I would like to present you with the Remerge 2002 Outstanding Graduate Award.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Jamie, and thank you for your continued engagement with the Remerge program. We are also here today, though, to celebrate these 6 women who are graduating from the Remerge program. Remerge was designed to address the trauma that occurs when mothers are incarcerated and separated from their families. Remerge serves high-risk, high-need mothers in Oklahoma County. Utilizing evidence-based treatment, Remerge provides individualized wraparound services to remove the barriers mothers face while navigating the criminal justice system. When these barriers are removed, mothers have an opportunity to focus on recovery and to create a new future for their families. Remerge was built on a collective impact model, and they continue to collaborate with over 40 community partners to collectively meet the needs of the families that they serve. Together, they provide safe and sober housing, transportation, mental health care, medical and dental appointments, education and employment services, legal services, an array of other services based on the individual needs of each family. Remerge mothers are successful because our community chooses to invest in them. Once again, OSU OKC is demonstrating their belief in Remerge by providing our graduates today with scholarships. OSU OKC provides industry-relevant higher education for a diverse student population through innovative technology and experienced faculty and staff, leading to personal growth, graduation, and employment that supports the needs of a multicultural region. So we would like to thank OSU OKC for their commitment to providing Remerge participants and graduates continued education. Irene C. Casalora says, "The pen that writes your life story must be held in your own hand. When we deny our stories, they define us. And when we own our stories, it frees us to write a new ending. Today, it is truly our honor to hear the stories of hope that help us understand the journeys of our graduates. These remarkable women hold the pen that writes their life stories, creating a new ending for themselves and their families. We are grateful to witness the power of their voices as they write their own stories and to celebrate all that they have accomplished. Please welcome Lacey."
Nice to meet you.
My name is Lacey Michelle Williams. I'm 32 years old. My birthday is April 14th, 1990. I'm a natural born Aries. I have 2 sons. Caden will be 16 in December, and Kaiser will be 7 in October. I grew up in Velma, Elma, a small town where my father was the chief of police. I had 2 amazing, loving parents. My parents got a divorce when I was 9. I moved to Duncan with my mom. I began hanging with the wrong crowd. I started drinking and smoking weed at the age of 13. I was sneaking out and in and out of juvie. By the time I was 15, I found out I was pregnant and I moved out the house. On December 30th, 2006, my son Caden was born. In 2010, I was gone to work and my son was abused by my boyfriend at the time. Now if I can find where I was. The police were called and I rushed my son to the emergency room. DHS was involved and my son was placed into emergency custody, but with my mother. The very next day, I started meth for the first time. I was in and out of jail for drug charges, and in 2013, I was in a large drug bust. I went to prison for my first time. I did 6 months and was right back out living in chaos and addiction. In 2015, In 2015, I found out I was pregnant with my second child. I was fighting more drug charges at the time. I knew I was going to prison, but I had a loving family who got me a good attorney. I was able to stay out while pregnant with my son. My son Kaiser was born October 22nd, 2015. I found out at my 6-week checkup I was pregnant again. I knew my mother was going to have to raise my son while I did a lengthy sentence, so there was no way that I wanted her to be able to keep 2 babies at her age. I thought the best decision was to have an abortion. It was one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make. I signed for my 20-year sentence January 2016. I served my time and was released on December 4th of 2019. I still had unaddressed trauma and no coping skills. I still didn't have my children and I felt hopeless. I carried so much pain and guilt and shame that I didn't even want to live anymore. It was so hard to find a good job that paid my bills because I was a felon. The only thing I knew to do was turn to the streets. July 2020, 7 months later, I was raided, found with $20,000 cash and 3 kilos of meth. I knew my life was over, but I was sick and tired of living that lifestyle, and I wanted something different. I began to be my biggest advocate, and I was hungry to gain my life back. On March 23, 2021, I was accepted into the Remerge program. Upon completion, my aggravated trafficking would be dismissed. I began working on myself and putting one foot in front of the other. I started digging deep within myself and started to learn who I was. I realized helping other people who struggle with addiction and mental illness and other things similar to the things I've been through was my passion and my calling, and also what kept me sane. Being able to give hope to others is the best feeling in the world. Being able to empower women and inspire others has been my biggest blessing. My values, my morals have changed so much with my growth and recovery. I now have my life back and hope I never had before. I'm 19 months sober, I have my peer recovery support specialist certification, and I have my dream job at Ocarta, which I plan to make a lifelong career. Both of my boys are home with me, and I'm speaker for events discussing recovery, reentry, and diversion programs throughout the state. I have healthy relationships, my family's trust back, a home for my boys and I. I'm 9 credits away at OSU for obtaining my managerial business degree with a 3.94 GPA, and most importantly, I have life. I'm making a difference in breaking the cycle of addiction within families. I'm giving hope to others who are living a lifestyle who I knew so well. I now have a successful life worth living, and I can give hope to others. I am a living proof that recovery is possible. I would like to thank the Remerge staff for giving me the foundation to build a life worth living, giving me love and support, and helping me rebuild a successful life. Ms. Tate, you made me see that not all probation officers are out to get me. The care and the love and the support that you give us ladies is nothing I've never seen before. I would like to thank my Remerge sisters for always having my back. I have built friendships and sisterhoods that I know will last a lifetime. I would like to thank Ocarta for believing in me, giving me and my boys a chance to be part of your family and organization, giving me a successful lifelong career for my children and I. When you have a job you love, it's like you never have to work again. I would like to thank my mom and my dad for always being my biggest fans. Never have y'all stopped believing in me and praying for me or left my side. I truly have had 2 of the most amazing parents in the world. My dad is my best friend, but Mom, you're my hero. Judge Stoner and legal team, thank you for always having my back and pushing me to be the woman and mother I am today. I want to thank my 2 amazing boys for never giving up on Mommy, for loving me through the hardest times. And no matter what, you boys always make me feel like the best mom. Cody, thank you for the way we co-parent. Our relationship is exactly how it's supposed to be. We are Kaiser's team, and that's what matters. And you also treat Caden just as fair. I love you all very much and truly grateful for the love and support I have today.
Hey, wow. Wow. I'm going to be honest. I can't believe I'm up here at my graduation. My name is Keziah Pompey. I am 27 years old and I'm a recovering prostitute and addict. 3 years ago, if you would have asked me where I see myself, I would have told you making that money. Whichever way I felt necessary, and no one could change my mind on that. In the month of November 2019, a woman from a program came to me for the second time, presenting me with an offer to change. I knew I was facing hard times, so I said yes, knowing deep down I didn't want to. Not even for a second did I want to change. On November 20th, I was headed to Remerge. During the first 2 months, I took off. I didn't stay. I took off twice, to be exact. And the second time I left, I walked past a very wise woman named Officer Tate, who told me, "You don't want to do that." Mind you, I was about 8.5 months pregnant, but I walked off saying, "Yes, I do." I sat on a bench for about 30 minutes because I thought she was going to come after me. But when I felt she wasn't, I got up and kept walking. That was the worst decision I ever made. 2 weeks later, I was in the hospital. I called Remerge from there, and we decided rehab 4 hours away was best for me. And to be honest, it was the best for me. During the time I was in the hospital, I had my son. He is doing fantastic. He is 2 years old. He has a few problems, but he's a fighter. From the moment the doctors put him in my arms, I cried and cried. And in those moments I spent with him, I knew I had to change. If not for me, for my boys. Changing was hard. I had been prostituting for about 10 years, doing drugs, drinking, in and out of prison, running the streets, and doing what I wanted. By this time, I had been to Oklahoma County Jail 13 times. I had been to rehab 2 times, prison once, and I had guns to my head countless times. I had been in a situation for 7 years and endured major abuse at the hands of a man that I couldn't let go of. It didn't make sense to me that I could change after everything I had been through. I lost my mother at the age of 19 years old, and it hurt my entire being inside and out. I felt the world around me crashing, and I went deeper into the hell I wasn't gonna do this. I had created for myself. Losing my mother, despite everything we went through together, and despite the rough relationship we had, I wanted to make her proud. She died before I got that chance. I wonder a lot about my father, the whereabouts of the man who went to prison when I was 4. He was sentenced to 122 years, and he just got out about a year ago. That relationship may not get to where it should be. He wasn't as helpful as he believes he was. I had a little boy at 17 named Keytravion. He is here to support me. My mom got to see him before she passed away. I thank God for that time she had with him. I believe the day I had him was the first time I had ever seen her cry. I was losing him to the system, but my Aunt Sharon and my cousin Sherelle took him in. My mom was able to be with him every day. You got it. Before she passed. After her passing, I began committing burglaries and going to jail. In rehab, I got involved, going to jail and rehab. I got involved with my abuser at the age of 20, and that was the worst 7 years of my life. In 2020, I had my second son, Michael, on my birthday. He is also here for his mom. 1 week after he was born, Remerge helped me to go to rehab for the second time. I think it's the third time, but in there I changed everything about me that I didn't like and that I didn't believe would get me to where I needed to be in life. But even when I got to rehab and started my time at Remerge, I wasn't ready. I was still doing things I wasn't supposed to be doing and ended up pregnant with a baby later in 2020. His name is Keontre, and he is here today. That was the end of my rampage of ignorance. I accepted that it was time for a change, not for my kids, but for myself, so I can be there for them the way that they truly need me to be. Once I accepted my destiny, I ended up doing right in Remerge. I went back to school, got a car, got my own place, got a great job, and I started to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I even ended up with one thing I thought I could not ever have, a faithful, committed, heartfelt relationship with the man I thought I couldn't find in this world. Nicholas helped me to see that sexuality isn't what is important in a relationship. Building a partnership, being there, and having each other's back is what matters. Having undeniable love and trust for for one another is what builds a true relationship, and he loves me and my kids as if they were his own. I thank God every day for him. If it wasn't for Remerge helping me along my journey of life, I wouldn't be the woman I am today. I also want to say a huge thank you to my youngest brother, Deshaun, my aunt Sharon, my cousin Sherelle, and my little cousins for staying by my side through my rough hell, supporting me through my struggles of finding myself and becoming who I am. Thank you to my 9-year-old son, Keytravion, for still loving his mother and wanting to be around me, even though I was absent for the majority of his life. To my boyfriends for sticking by me, even on my rough days. To my mother and my aunt Janice, even though they are no longer with me, I know they are still by my side spiritually. To Officer Tate, I will forever hear your voice when I feel like falling off, telling me you don't want to do that. Putting me back on the right path. And to Judge Stoner, who altogether gave me about 5 years to get my life together. Starting with drug court, which I failed horribly in that program. He gave me my last chance when I entered into Remerge. I want to thank Remerge for accepting me, helping me, guiding me, believing in a lost cause, and turning me into a beautiful shining star that you see before you. I plan to keep growing and helping people get out of their dark hells. That's it.
My name is Sarah. I'm from Oklahoma City, born and raised. I have 3 kids that are back at home with me. I have 1 son that is with my grandma, and I have 2 children that were adopted out. I come from a past of trauma, like a long line of trauma. I chose to use drugs instead of coping because I didn't know how to cope. I ended up getting a possession of CDS charge and ended up getting Remerge. That was, my life-saving moment. I'm here today. I've got my kids back. I graduated code camp. I got my GED. I have an amazing career, amazing future ahead of me. My kids trust me again. My family trusts me again. Just everything overall has changed. The staff is amazing. They listen to you. Once I learned how to cope through my trauma, substance abuse was in my past. I no longer needed it. That's what makes Remerge amazing to me. They are very open and honest. They want the best for you. The ladies, they are sisters. If you call them, they will answer the phone. They're always there. I have a few that I call all the time. It's definitely a sisterhood, and I know that they'll be there after graduation, and I'll be there for them still.
My name is Norma. I was born in Lubbock, Texas, raised in Marsing, Idaho. I am the second oldest of 7. I have 2 kids, 14 and 11. So before Remerge, I hadn't seen or talked to my kids for 6 years. I'm grateful I found the Remerge program because it showed me what quality of life I could live in recovery. What has worked for me the most is just reaching out to Remerge staff when I'm struggling. I've created such a network of sobriety around myself where that's where I've nested my feet in, and that's where I can get help when I need it. Remerge helped me become the mom I've always wanted to be. After getting into the Remerge program, I started speaking to them slowly. Now the relationship is just blossomed to something so much more beautiful than I could ever imagined. 6 years is a long time to be away from any child. They tell me all the time how they are grateful that I am back. They're happy I am back. This is what Remerge showed me what life is going to be, and this is what I'm going to dedicate my life to now.
My name is Dawn. I'm 51 years old. I'm an only child, kind of spoiled, grew up very entitled, and I have 2 teenage boys. When I was younger, I lacked a lot of self-confidence, so I kind of experimented in different drugs, and then when I found methamphetamine, it made me feel I could do whatever I wanted. It ended up being a vicious cycle and destruction. I ended up losing everything. Which caused me to catch a trafficking case, and which landed me in prison. And I ended up getting out on parole and ended up catching another trafficking case. And I was somehow granted Remerge, and I was very pleased with that. The difference for me with Remerge is I needed something that was structured like Remerge, where it was different phases, where at first they kind of give you the time to know yourself. I needed to sit still and get to know me. They showed me the coping skills I needed, how to deal with my emotions, with my family, with any anxiety or problems that came in my life. I've got my kids both living with me, and now we have our own home. We actually live in one of the Remerge duplexes, which I'm grateful for, and I've gained a lot of coping skills and just self-esteem, and I'm a better person all around.
My name is Shanique. I'm 41 years old. I have 7 children. Everyone was addicted to something when I was younger. I've always drank since I was about like 12 or 13 years old. It was just introduced to me as a child. I mean, it just got out of control to where I was just functioning as an alcoholic every day. I had an argument one night with the now ex-boyfriend, and I just, I cried out to God, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I had a handful of pills in one hand and a bottle of promethazine in the other hand, and I was ready to, just go. His granddaughter called and asked me if I could come and pick her up. Before I could make it back from picking her up, I got pulled over by police. And so I was just like, you know what, God, I didn't ask you to let me go to jail. But, you get what you ask for. I asked for this program. I knew I didn't want to drink anymore. I knew that I wanted my life back. And I was able to share my story. I was able to find someone that I could tell my secrets to, and it was Remerge. I've gained so much knowledge. I mean, there's so many classes here. It's just like being in college. It's helped me be a better parent, actually bonding with them and actually hugging and loving on them. They get to see a side of me that the whole world has never seen. And I actually love myself now, and I'm not doing everything for everybody else. I'm doing stuff for Shanique.
Hi, my name is Lacey Williams. I'm from Duncan, Oklahoma. I have 2 boys. Caden is 15 and Kaiser is 6. I grew up as the only child. I had 2 loving parents. My dad was a chief of police and my mom worked in Duncan. I was always in and out of jail, juvie. I was just spoiled that my parents were always there to catch me when I fell, so I never really hit rock bottom. I started hanging out with the wrong crowd. I got pregnant at 15 at an early age, and so I decided to move out. I started selling drugs, hanging out with the wrong crowd, and then I was finding myself in and out of prison. I was released December of 2019, and I got out and got in some more trouble. I didn't have any kind of tools, any kind of coping skills. I just didn't know how to live life as a functioning human being, and so without the use of drugs or alcohol. Got cases in Oklahoma County, and I got accepted into the Remerge program. What shifted with Remerge was just the love and support that you have here. I learned work ethics. I learned how to love myself again. I learned how to be successful, and it was all with the love and support that Remerge gave me. They lay the foundation for you, and it's you building up on that foundation. And now I have both of my boys back, my own house. I'm a peer recovery sports specialist. I work for Ocarta, and I have my career. I have my dream job, and I'm just living a successful, happy life. I just want to say that Remerge is just the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Hi, I'm Keziah. I was born in Hobbs, New Mexico, but raised here in Oklahoma City. I have 3 kids. I started my journey off on the very wrong road, doing drugs, prostituting, doing whatever I can to make it, and a wonderful lady showed up in the county after I was there 13 times and asked me if I wanted to try a new way, and that was Remerge. I've been to 3 different programs. This program was different because of the challenges in it. Allowed me to experience multiple emotions, which I've never had to do. And it also gave me the knowledge to know that I'm worth more than what I was allowing myself to be. The love and the care and the appreciation that was shown here. The motherly care that everyone gave, because I never had my mom in my life. So I got that here. I got what I was looking for in the streets. I got a car for the first time. I have my license. I have a great job. I am in all 3 of my kids' lives. I am in a great relationship. I have great support behind me. I am at the best place that I could ever be in my entire life right now. It's all thanks to the foundation I was given by Remerge.
What Remerge is to me is sisterhood recovery.
Remerge is to me a home in a better way. When I think of Remerge, I think of that golden path. It allowed me to see better of myself, which allowed me to be able to help others see the better in them.
Remerge to me is life and family.
Remerge to me is family, extended family.
Remerge is the ignition. They were the reason my car started again. It was broke down for a long time, so whatever they did to fix it, they fixed it.
Remerge is my lifesaver.
You don't understand how nervous I am. Hello, everyone. My name is Norma Jean Adame, and this is my story. I was born to my mother, Francisca Bernal, and Ruben Adame. I am the second oldest of 7. My parents had 6 daughters and 1 son. The names are Yvonne, myself, Glenda, Ruby, Aisha, Ruben Jr., and Trisha. I was born in Lubbock, Texas, but raised in Marsing, Idaho. I loved living in a small town where everyone knew everyone, but when I was 10, my mother and father decided to separate, and we moved to El Reno, Oklahoma. While we were in El Reno, we lived with my grandparents and aunt. The living space wasn't enough for 7 kids, but we were happy because we were all together with my mom. But things got physically abusive while living with my aunt, and that's when my mom decided to move us to Oklahoma City. My mom was working but got injured, and after that, it was hard for her to find work that would help her support her large and growing daughters and son. So my mom started selling drugs to help support her family. In 2006, I met my ex-husband, Ernesto Zamora. Eventually, my mom went to prison in 2007 on drug charges. She was gone for 4 years, but while my mom was in prison, my older sister Yvonne took responsibility for raising my younger sisters and brother. I would help as much as I could. While my mother was in prison, I found out I was pregnant and gave birth to my handsome, perfect son, Brandon. Being a mom was the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. I didn't know what I was doing, but with help of my ex-husband's family, I had all the help I needed. In 2010 is when I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, and my mother was released from prison. In 2011, I gave birth to a beautiful, perfect, smart, outgoing daughter. My mother was present to see her first grandchild born, and it was a beautiful moment to see my mother hold my daughter for the first time. Everything was perfect for about 6 to 7 months. My mother got picked up on federal drug charges and went to prison in 2012, federal prison in 2012. My mother was in prison for another 6 years. My older sister Yvonne was charged and convicted and sentenced to 25 years on drug charges. In 2015, Ernesto and I decided to separate after 9 years of being together. I was completely heartbroken, lost, and I didn't know how to cope with my emotions or how to handle my life on life's terms. I started using drugs to cope with the pain and the loss of my relationship, the loss of my sister and my mother, and the loss of the life I had with my kids. I eventually gave my children to their father because I was using, and that was the best decision I ever made. 6 years would pass in active addiction, not seeing my kids, only seeing them through pictures my sisters would send me. There was hope for me yet. In 2017, my mother was released from federal prison. She tried to help me, but I wasn't listening. I was so lost in my addiction, I heard no advice. I would lie, cheat, steal from my mother and my sisters until they made the decision to no longer have me around. In 2018, I picked up my first drug charge, and in December 2018, I picked up my first drug charge, and in January 2019, I picked up 4 more drug charges. I was facing 10 years in prison, but a miracle happened. In September 2019, I went to court and went to Oklahoma County Jail and was in jail for 95 days. And I was also about to sign for 10 years in prison when Judge Savage intervened and wanted me to get help that she thought I desperately needed. In December 6, 2019, I was sworn into the Remerge program, and I'm not gonna lie, I was scared of change, love, recovery, and sisterhood. I have been in Remerge for 36 months. I am 15 months sober. While in Remerge, I gained the coping skills that I never thought I could ever have. I've gained a relationship with my children, my mother, my sisters, and the father of my kids, and his wife, Jasmine. I also accomplished many goals while in Remerge. I got my GED, my driver's license, completed Remerge's first career exploration for coding. I started working at a wonderful company at Team Logic IT. My boss, Brandon Jackson, and the whole Team Logic IT family I have is a huge support for me. I would like to say thank you to the Remerge staff, Cheyenne, Officer Tate, Carlene, Roxana, Katie, Miranda, and it's Alethea, for always believing in me and never giving up on me and pushing me to be the best I can be. Ernesto and Jasmine, thank you for helping me and supporting me. To my children, Brandon and Megan, I love you, and I promise I'm never gonna leave again. To my sponsor, Vanessa, thank you for everything, for showing me how to live by the principles of AA and how to work the steps. To my mother, Francisca, thank you for loving me even when I didn't deserve it. To my sisters, I love you all, even though it's tough love. To my therapist, Rachel and Melanie, for always listening to me and helping me process things correctly. To my closest friends I've gained in Remerge, Jessica Reynolds, Dawn, Sarah, and Tia, and many more others I can't name here. I love you, and I will be there for when you graduate next. I also want to say I am a small handful of Hispanic women to graduate the Remerge program. And there's nothing shameful in my culture to ask for help. I am proof that we do recover. Thank you.
Okay, hold on. Whew, okay. Sorry, I get overwhelming anxiety. Okay. I promise I'm gonna do it. Okay. Hello, my name is Sarah Hill. I'm 33 years old and I have 6 children, 2 girls and 4 boys. I am from Oklahoma City, Okie, born and raised. I had a great childhood. You could say I was a spoiled brat. My mom and dad worked very hard to provide for us. My parents and grandparents did everything they could to keep me on the right path. I just chose the wrong friends and sometimes just chose to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. My addiction began very early. I was hanging out with my sister and her older friends. I remember the first time I had a beer. I was 12 years old at a party. My sister left to get more beer and I ended up being sexually assaulted that night. This set something off inside of my head, and I never felt the same again. I also started smoking marijuana and doing cocaine around this time. These were my go-to drugs until I went to the Berry House for possession of a firearm and possession of controlled dangerous substance. I got out on probation and was doing pretty well. Then one day, I was at my cousin's house. I was offered meth for the first time. I took one hit and it was over. I was addicted. I continued to use meth for most of my life, 19 years at least, smoking marijuana and drinking, also doing pills, snorting cocaine, pretty much anything and everything I could get my hands on. I was in and out of juvenile detention centers. I was always running away, never home, always looking to hang out with the older people, and still not even knowing the consequences that this would have in my life. I would go from my parents' to my grandparents' house when I would get in trouble, and my grandma would come and pick me up. This was kind of routine because when I was younger, my brother and sister would be mean to me, and I would call my grandmother, and she would come for me. So of course, when I got in trouble, I would go to her house. I would do the right thing, and it would be okay for a while, until it wasn't. My addiction would come over me, and then I would run away again, back to the streets, back to trying to mask my pain, trying to find myself in a world where I didn't belong. As a juvenile, I didn't understand the concept of life and how to be successful. The only thing I could comprehend was how to be the cool kid. I was literally the kid around all older folks, but it felt good that they wanted me around. For a long time, they even called me Juvie. When I turned 18, I was just finishing my juvenile probation and living at my grandmother's. On my 18th birthday, I was a short-time sober teenager with a little bit of cash. What do you think I did? Stayed sober and got my life together? Of course not. I didn't have the sense to do so. I'm just lucky I didn't overdose and die. I ended up getting married to my 6th grade boyfriend at the age of 19, and he made me get sober. We had 3 kids, and I was doing amazing. I loved being a mom. I wanted 11 kiddos total. Thank God I didn't have that many. Then he decided he wanted to be a drug dealer, and he went to prison, which impacted my life very heavily. Raising 3 kids on my own and losing my childhood sweetheart was devastating. I ended up having another child by a guy I was dating, and he was a good guy, but I was just used to bad guys, so I didn't see that. I ended up doing him wrong and leaving him for my next baby's father. What a mistake that was. He was so violent and abusive, physically, mentally, emotionally. He broke me down, and I didn't know who I was anymore. I was taught growing up, not by my parents, but by my acquaintances, that we do not call the cops for any reason. So he gave me 2 black eyes, and I didn't call the cops. My kids had already been removed from my home and put into guardianships while I was in a DHS case. While I was in a DHS case, I missed one of my classes because I didn't want to be seen like that if my caseworker showed up. So I got called for an emergency meeting and lost my kids. I ended up losing my 2 youngest children to adoption through DHS for failure to protect because they were not in a guardianship at the time. After that, that's when my addiction to heroin came. I lost my soul when I lost my 2 youngest children. Everybody around me kept saying, "You still have other children. You still have other children that need you." But they didn't understand the pain or the emptiness. I was so numb, and it felt like nobody around me could even see that I was dying inside, and they didn't understand that I couldn't just forget or let it go. It was now a part of me, and I didn't know the first thing about healthy coping or how to properly grieve. So I started using heroin intravenously, and using heroin will take your soul. I was away from the rest of my kids for 5 more years, not even realizing how much time had passed. I felt so much guilt and shame, I didn't even want to look them in their eyes. How could I lose their baby brother and sister? What kind of mom was I? I knew what I needed to do to get them back. I just didn't have the skills to do it. I was searching and searching for something to save me, but just couldn't figure out what it could be. I had heard about Remerge, and I had tried to get into the program when I was in jail a previous time, but I was denied and told I didn't have enough charges. It took me 4 years to get the courts to allow me into Remerge. However, I believed that if I got into this program, it could save my life. And guess what? It did. To me, it will always be Remerge, the place that saved my life, the place that I will forever be grateful to have been a part of. I have learned to live life on life's terms. I have learned to cope with my trauma, and most importantly, I have learned that there are so many people who believe in us. I came into this program thinking no one in the world cared about drug addicts and criminals, whether they are mothers or not. I have accomplished more things than I could ever imagined. I got my GED, I graduated the Career Pathways program for coding, and I have a career that I love. I have my kids back full time. I have my own house, a car, and a job, and I am proud to be a part of. I'm not in a healthy relationship. But I was. We're gonna skip that part. I am well on my way to being a productive member of society. I am 20 months sober from all substances. I am happy to say that I love my life. I would like to thank everyone who has had a hand in helping Remerge. I want to tell you how grateful I am for your support and for believing in me when I didn't think anybody else did, and I definitely couldn't believe in myself. Remerge staff, y'all are such an amazing group of women. I never had friends who were women growing up, and I never knew how beneficial it could be to my life to have women who support me. To the legal team and Judge Stoner, you are insanely amazing. You give so many people a second chance, and you believe in them, like really believe in them. To all my Remerge sisters, I love you, and I'm always here for you. To my future self, if you ever feel the need to mask your pain with substance, I want you to look back at all your hard work, all your successes, everything that you gained out of doing the next right thing, and I want you to sit in those thoughts. I want you to remember where you came from. I want you to see how much you have grown. I want you to understand that you are worthy, that you are enough, and that you mean the world to so many people around you. And I want to say thank you for you being you.
Ladies, that was amazing. Thank you so much for courageously sharing your stories. Well, you've made it to graduation day, and each step has taken courage, and we are all here today to celebrate your strength. You've shown that treatment works, that recovery works. Collectively, this group of graduates is celebrating 2,639 days of sobriety. Let's hear it for them. And together, in case you weren't doing math on the video, these mothers have a combined 20 children. They each have embraced this opportunity and gained the tools necessary to disrupt the powerful cycle of intergenerational incarceration. This group of women once faced a combined 42 years in prison. To incarcerate these women for 42 years, it would have cost the taxpayers of the state of Oklahoma $946,014. But by providing treatment over incarceration together as a community, we've set these 6 families on the path to brighter and safer and healthier futures. Now it's time to recognize, Now it's time to recognize and honor our 6 graduates who have successfully completed the Remerge program and met all the requirements set forth by the court and the Oklahoma Department of Corrections. At times, the journey wasn't easy, but these women showed grit and determination to do hard things. They never gave up. And you said it in your stories, you never gave up on yourselves, and you were worthy of the journey. So with Jenna Morey, Judge Kenneth Stoner, Assistant District Attorney Kelly Basie, Assistant Public Defender Madison Malone, and Remerge Assistant Program Director Tara Shaw, please join me on the stage. Today, each of the Remerge graduates will receive a certificate of completion from Remerge, a $500 scholarship to attend OSU OKC, a longtime community partner of Remerge. This scholarship supports graduates in their continued quest towards the education and employment goals. Also, a necklace that is worn only by Remerge graduates. On it is a tree which symbolizes growth and the family tree of support that these women have, which will continue to grow with them. This necklace is inscribed with their class word, aphatos, and today's date, to always remember this special day of your graduation. A Strong Squad t-shirt, serving as the official invitation to join the sisterhood of Remerge graduates. And finally, the coveted dismissal of charges from District Attorney David Prater. All right, I'm going to call you one by one, so when I call your name, will you please come up to the stage? First, we would like to recognize Norma Amade. Norma is described by her Remerge sisters as admirable, kind of stubborn, loyal, victorious, and a survivor. Reflecting on her time in Remerge, Norma said, "I have gained the coping skills I never thought I could ever have. I have regained a relationship with my children, with my family, and accomplished many of my goals. The relationship with my kids has blossomed into something so much more beautiful than I ever could have imagined. Remerge helped me become the mom I always wanted to be." Let's congratulate Norma. Next, Shanique Foy. Shanique is beautiful, brilliant, talented, independent, and successful. Shanique will continue to be a role model for others, sharing, "Since I have been in this program, it has been the best thing that ever happened to me. I was able to get out of a toxic relationship. I've been able to sustain my sobriety, and I am back in school. I can take care of my kids with a clear mind, and I'm learning to love myself for the first time. I want to give back to the community and continue to be a role model to others that struggle with the same problems. Congratulations, Shanique. Elizabeth Dawn Firthmeyer. Caring, loving, and strong. She is beautiful and she is a great friend. Dawn said of her time in Remerge, she is a better person all around. She shares, when I came into Remerge, I was lost, but I knew I wanted something different. Since being here, I have learned how to cope with life situations in a healthy way. Now I look for solutions on what can be done, and I try my best to do it. What I can't control, I let go of. I have learned how to be a mom again and be present and consistent with my actions. Congratulations, Dawn. Okay, Sarah Hill. Sarah is described as smart, funny, intelligent, hardworking, and loving. Sarah recalls her time in Remerge saying, I have learned to live life on life's terms. I have learned how to cope with my trauma. And most importantly, I have learned that there are so many people who believe in us. I have an amazing future ahead of me. My kids trust me again. My family trusts me again. Everything overall has changed. I'm happy to say that I love my life. Congratulations, Sarah. Next, we welcome Keziah Pompey. Keziah is strong, beautiful, unique, resilient, and driven. Yes, she is. She shares that she was given a foundation by Remerge stating, I accepted that it was time for a change, not for my kids, but for myself, so I can be there for them the way they truly needed me to be. Remerge was different because of the challenges in it, of allowing me to experience multiple emotions, which I've never had to do. It also gave me the knowledge to know that I'm worth more than what I was allowing myself to be. Congratulations. And finally, we have Lacey Williams. Committed, thoughtful, and strong, her fellow graduates described her as being a great mother and fierce. Lacey will continue to be a leader in our community, stating, being able to give hope to others is the best feeling in the world. Being able to empower women, inspire others has been my biggest blessing. My values and morals have changed so much with my growth and recovery. I now have my life back and hope I never had before. I'm living a successful, happy life. Congratulations, Lacey. Well, we are so proud of our graduates. This graduating class is true to the word they chose, too great to be expressed in words. Thank you again to each of you for your support, for your prayers, for your gifts of time and treasures, your kindness, and your presence today in support of Remerge moms and the work of Remerge. Well, as you've seen today, Remerge mothers are resilient, courageous, innovative, and confident. They are worth the investment in our community. Thank you so much for coming today. Your showing up to celebrate these 6 women are evidence that they are worthy. This restoration of mothers to their families and to our community is possible because our community chooses to invest in Remerge families. Remerge graduates, remember that you have the support of your community. We are your hype squad. Did I say that right? To current Remerge participants, know that everyone in this room is cheering you on, and we look forward to celebrating each and every one of you. And finally, we want to close today's ceremony with the Serenity Prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Let's celebrate these graduates one more time, please. All right, thanks everyone for coming today. We'll see you in the spring again for another graduation. Bye-bye. All right, that was awesome.
Thank you so much.
No, thanks for inviting me. This was-